Hello, dear students. Today we are going to study the second chapter of History, class 6, and the name of the chapter is From Hunting, Gathering to Growing Food. From hunting, gathering to growing food. So we are going to do this chapter. Here, boys, we will learn how these early men, how did they gather food, how did they make tools, etc. So now let's begin the chapter. Tushar's train journey. Here you can see the picture of a boy. Most probably the name of this boy is Tushar. So his train journey, let us see. Tushar was going from Delhi to Chennai for his cousin's wedding. So one day Tushar he was going from Delhi to Chennai in order to attend the wedding of his cousin. They were traveling by train and he had managed to squeeze into the window seat, his nose glued to the glass pane. So, Tushar here and with some other members, they were traveling by train and he got a seat near the window of train. There, he said his nose glued to the glass pane and he was looking outside. As he watched trees and houses fly past, his uncle tapped his shoulder and said, "Do you know that trains were first used about 150 years ago and that people began using buses a few decades later?" So, his uncle who was with him, what he has done, he put his hand on his soldier, means on the soldier of Tushar, and he said to Tushar, "Do you know that trains were first used about 150 years ago?" So train began to run about 150 years ago, and that people began using buses a few decades later. So the buses began to ply on the road after a few decades, means after it maybe 40, 50 years later, like that. Tushar wondered, when people couldn't travel quickly from one place to another, did they spend their entire lives wherever they were born? Not quite. So Tushar he was surprised. It is because of when people could not travel quickly, there was no means of train, there was no means of buses. So he was thinking that at that time people could not travel quickly from one place to another. Did they spend their entire lives wherever they were born? Do they used to spend their whole life at those places where they got birth? Not quite, not like that. So it is the opinion of Tushar, the boy who was going from Delhi to Chennai for his cousin's wedding. The earliest people, why were they on the move? The earliest people, why were they on move? Why they used to move from one place to another? Why do they lead nomadic life? Let us see. We know about people who lived in the subcontinent as early as 2 million years ago. So we know that people who lived in, say, uh, in the subcontinent as early as 2 million years ago, means as early as 20 lakhs years ago. Today we describe them as hunter gatherers, and those people, today we describe them as hunter gatherers. They used to go for hunting and gathering. The name comes from the way in which they got their food. So name itself, it gives meaning that the way in which they got their food means hunting and gathering. By hunting and gathering, that means they used to get their food. Generally, they hunted wild animals, caught fish and birds, gathered fruits, roots, nuts, seeds, leaves, stalks, and eggs. She, most probably, they hunted wild animals. As those days, children, they were not having any knowledge of agriculture. They do not lead a settled life. That's why they used to go for hunting wild animals, caught fish and birds, gathered fruits and roots, nuts, seeds, leaves, stalks, and eggs like this. That means these different things they used to hunt or they used to catch in order to satisfy their hungry. Hunter gatherers moved from place to place. There are many reasons for this. Hunter gatherers, those early people, they used to move from one place to another. They do not lead settled life. Reason I already cleared you boys why they do not have this settled life. There are many reasons for this. So they used to move from one place to another. It has many reasons why they move from place to place. The first reason it is given like this: if they had stayed at one place for a long time, they would have eaten up all the available plant and animal resources. If they had stayed, that means at a particular place for a long time, they would have eaten up all the available plant and animal resources. Whatever plants or animals resources which are found there, they would have eaten up all that. Therefore, they would have had to go elsewhere in search of food. And that is why they need to move from that place. They have to change their settlement. They have to go other places in search of food. So this was the first reason why they do not lead a settled life. The second reason is like this: animals move from place to place either in search of smaller prey or, in the case of deer and wild cattle, in search of grass and leaves. Animals, they used to move from one place to another place. It is either because of searching of smaller prey. Smaller prey means an animal that is hunted and killed by another for food. Or in the case of deer and wild cattle, in search of grass and leaves. These are the reasons why animals they move from one place to another place. That is why those who hunted them had to follow their movements, and that is why those peoples also want to hunt them. They need to follow them. They need to follow their movements. By the movement, that means as they move, these animals, they have to follow them. They have to reach to that place where they reach in order to hunt them. Okay, let us see the next page. Page number 12. The third region, let us see. Third one, plants and trees bear fruit in different seasons. So people may have moved from season to season in search of different kinds of plants. See, uh, plants and trees, they give different fruit in different seasons. So all fruits are not available in a particular area. So as seasons changes, fruit it also that means bear according to the rhythm of the season. So people may have moved from season to season in search of different kinds of plants, and that is why people they used to move from one season to another season for searching the different kinds of plants, where that the different kinds of plants they grow. People they have to reach there, they have to search that places in order to get their fruits. The fourth region for that means movement of the people. Let us see the early man, the early movement, early man they move from one place to another. Is that people, plants, and animals need water to survive. Water is this a basic need for every living organisms. So people, plants, and animals need water to survive in order to remain alive. Everyone need it. Water is found in lakes, streams, and rivers. Water it is available in lakes, streams, and rivers. So whether it is that means in the form of lake or streams or rivers, it is available from the different sources of water. While many rivers and lakes are perennial, boys, perennial means those which provide water throughout the year. While many rivers and lakes are perennial, means those lakes and rivers, they give water or through them water it flows the whole year. Others are seasonal. Others they are seasonal. In your higher classes, children, you will learn this perennial canal and inundation canal. Perennial means perennial canals are those canals through which water flows throughout the year, whereas inundation are those canals in which we can get water only when there is rainy season and surplus water there in the rivers. So you will get that in your higher classes. So people living on their banks would have had to go in search of water during the dry seasons. So people living on their banks, as there is the matter of you see perennial and others that means seasonal. That's why those who are living near the seasonal rivers, they need to go in search of water during the dry season, that is in winter and summer season. Now let us see, how do we know about these people? Archaeologists, boys, these archaeologists, somebody used to say this word as archaeologist. Both are correct, okay? Only you see ARCHAEOLOGISTS in place of that. If anybody write ARCHEO, no A is there in between. H and E, okay? That is ARCHEOLOGISTS. Both are correct, okay? Okay, archaeologists have found some of the things hunter gatherers made and used. So, archaeologists are those person who studies human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and physical remains. So they are those persons. They have found some of the things hunter gatherers made and used. They find there what some of the things hunter gatherers made and used, which were used by the people during those days, they found there. It is likely that people made and used tools of stone, wood, and bone, of which stone tools have survived best. See, it is likely that archaeologists they found that people made and used tools of stones. They used whatever tools they used during those days. It was made of stone, wood, and bone, of which stone tools have survived best. Among that, all the tools, stone tools, as it is not perishable easily, that's why that stone tools it remain or continue to exist in the best way. Some of these stone tools were used to cut meat and bone, scrape bark and hides, chop fruit and roots. So these stone tools, those early men, they were used in order to cut meat and bone and scrape bark. Bark means scrape bark from the trees, okay? Cover of the trees, to scrape it from the trees. And hides, animal hide means here animal skins. Chop fruit and roots. Chop fruits means chop fruits and roots for these purposes. Cut pieces, these fruits and roots. They use these stone tools because during those days metals were not used. Some may have been attached to handles of bone or wood. So, handle, some may have been attached to handles of bone or wood. Most probably nowadays we are also using this. That means different tools with handle most probably made of wood to make spears and arrows for hunting. So, in order to make spears and arrows for hunting, they used. Other tools were used to chop wood. Chop wood means to cut wood, which was used as firewood. So, cut it to cut wood we use generally an axe. So, these people they used to chop wood, to cut wood, which was used as firewood. So that wood, after chopping it, they use it as firewood. Wood was also used to make huts and tools. Wood, it was also they used in order to make huts and tools. See, you can see, boys, some picture it has given here how people they are using these different materials. Stone tools may also have been used for left side. You see, left side figure digging the ground to collect edible roots. They are digging. That means how early men digging the ground in order to collect roots which can eat. And right side another you can see uh, stitching clothes made out of animal skin. Now let us see the next page, page number 13. Choosing a place to live in. Look at map 2 below. Have a look, boys. The map of India. All the places marked with red triangles. Red triangles. Let us show it in red triangles. That is Bimbetka, Hangshi, and Kurnool caps. These three we find here, which is marked with red triangles. These are sites from which archaeologists have found evidence of hunter-gatherers. So this marked, you see a triangle which is marked by a red triangle. These are the sites, these are the areas, boys, where from which archaeologists they have found proof. Evidence means proof of hunter-gatherers. Okay, they find that means a proof from there where hunter-gatherers were there. Hunter-gatherers lived in many more places. Apart from that, these hunter-gatherers they used to live in many other places also. Only some are shown on the map. Only few, that means only some is shown here in this map. Many sites were located near sources of water, such as rivers and lakes. So many sites these are located near the sources of water where water is available. Near it, many sites are located, such as sources of water, such as rivers and lakes. Okay, let us turn over to the next page. As stone tools were important, people tried to find places where good quality stone was easily available. So, as stone tools were important, so people they tried to find places where good quality stone was easily found. Boys, to your left side of the book, that means the left margin, you see again Bimbetka in present day Madhya Pradesh. Bimbetka is in Madhya Pradesh. This is an old site with caves and rock shelters. So this Bimbetka, it is an old site area with caves. Caves, you know, the element where they used to live, and rock shelters. The shelters, their houses were made of rock. People choose these natural caves because they provided shelter from the rain, heat, and wind. People they choose this type of natural caves. It is because of they provide shelter. People can live there. They can remain safe from the rain, heat, and wind. These rock shelters are close to the Narmada Valley. So these rock shelters, our archaeologists they found, they are close to the Narmada Valley. Can you think of why people choose to live here? So you imagine it, boy, and can you think why people choose to live here? So your opinion you can write. You see rock paintings and what they tell us. Those early men, they used to paint on rock. So what they tell us, let us see. A painting from a rock shelter describe the painting. See, a painting it has given here from a rock shelter. It describes the painting of those days. Many of the caves in which these early people lived have paintings on the walls. So many caves where these early men used to live, they have paintings on the walls. Some of the best examples are from Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. So, as example, some of the best example you can jot down here. These are from Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh. These paintings show wild animals drawn with great accuracy and skill. So, these paintings it show wild animals drawn with great accuracy and skill. So let's up to here for today, boys. See you again. Thank you all.